So now we are on YouTube too. So hello guys from YouTube. My name is Gabriele and I will guide the immersion today. Today we are going to talk about countryside versus metropolis, okay? And let me explain a little bit how TNT works. TNT is a language platform for beginners, intermediate, and advanced speakers. All immersion meetings are not regular classes, so I'm not a teacher, I'm a student. And this is a place to practice English in a real environment, all right? So we have a topic to discuss about, we have some questions to guide the conversation, and we have some rules to follow to make the conversations flow better. The first rule is to be respectful. The second rule is don't be afraid to make mistakes. Remember that here we are in a safe place, so feel free to make mistakes here. If you don't know some word in English, please tell it in Portuguese, no problem. And the third rule is to have fun. Okay, guys? Usually I create one more room to split you to two or three rooms to make the conversations flow better. But today it's not the case. We are five here, and it's okay to have the conversation in the main room with all of you. Okay, guys? So let me introduce myself. So I'm Gabrielle. I'm 32 years old. I was born in Pelotas, a city in the south of Rio Grande do Sul, but 3 years ago I came to Rio de Janeiro, and now I live in this beautiful city. I'm a food engineer, and I work as a science entrepreneur, so I have my own business. And come on. And on my free time, I really like to stay at home watching movies and series and reality shows, or just to hang out with my friends, go out to several places that we have here on Rio. And that's okay. That's about me, guys. So I would like to invite you, Clinton, to introduce yourself. Please tell a little bit about you.
Okay, hello everybody from YouTube and around the world. My name is Clinton Brito. I'm 31 years old. I live in Aracaju, capital of the smallest state of Brazil, but I was raised in São Paulo. I lived there for 15 years. At the moment, I'm transitioning career from financial market. I worked in the financial market for 6 years, and I've been studying software development for the past year and a half. In my free time, uh, it's much like you. I prefer to stay home and watch movies, TV series, and live sports, especially to support my football team, the greatest one of Brazil, Palmeiras, and other sports like Formula One. The Olympic Games is coming, so I love to watch the Olympic Games. Practice some sports too. At the moment, I'm going to the gym, but for um, the recently I've been running too, cycling, but at the moment, just going to the gym. I think that's it.
Perfectly. It's nice to know about you a little bit. And let me see, Washington, can you introduce yourself, please?
Okay, guys, my name is Washner Takeush. I currently live in Cuiabá, state of Mato Grosso, but I was born in São Paulo. And I'm software developer, and I like to study language. English is my goal to be fluent to one day. It's not so easy, but we we have to effort. And I love dogs. I have a dog. His name is Shiro, and I speak Japanese too because I lived there for 11 years. English is my third language that I study, I love to fishing with my father, and I'm a simple guy that like to read the books, study a lot about program, and maybe that's it. Thank you.
So nice to know that you lived in Japan for 11 years. 11 years, all right?
Yes.
I have a dream to visit Japan one day. It's an amazing country, and I hope to have the opportunity to visit one day.
Yes.
So let me see, Igor, can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, of course. Hello, guys. Good morning. I'm Igor. I'm 27 years old. I'm a chemistry. Yes, and I'm working in a diaper industry, like I said before. Nowadays, I try to get a fluency in English, but I try to learn in other languages like German and French. And I don't know, but I'd like to visit German or Switzerland. Maybe to visit the industry and something like that. I think interesting. And I I don't um and that's it, guys.
You said that you are a chemistry, all right? So yesterday it was the chemistry day, I think so.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So let me see, Elton, can you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, sure. So, hello guys, my name is Elton. I'm a guy from São Paulo. I'm 31 years old. I've been working as a Python developer, more specifically working in the web development. Over 3 years. I'm a father. What else? My spare time, I like to do outdoor activities. I like to practice hiking, workout. And nowadays I'm taking some swim classes. So yeah, I like to spend some time away from the computer as much as possible because in our area we spend a lot of time in front of the computer. And yeah, that's me, guys.
Thank you so much, Elton. So, guys, let's move on to the question number 2. This question is related to the topic that we are going to talk today. So, Washner, have you ever had the experience of living in the countryside or in a metropolis? How was it?
Yes, I had the experience of living in the both, and of course, in the countryside is more peaceful, calm. We don't have a lot of traffic. There are a lot of place to fish because I love to fishing, and I love to swim in the river. It's very good for me. And of course, living in the metropolis is good for buying anything you want. There are also many job opportunities too. That's why I don't know, and it's so good or so not good to live then.
You lived in Japan, so I can imagine that we have a full experience of to live in a metropolis or not. Do you live in a small city there?
Yes, there I lived in Osaka and Nagoya. It's a big city and it's very nice to live there too. But I'm a calm guy. I'm a regular guy, and I love to calm place to live nowadays.
Perfect. And you, Clinton, have you ever had the experience of living in the countryside or in a metropolis? And how was it? How was it?
Not in the countryside, never lived in a countryside city. Maybe some people would think that Aracaju could be almost a countryside place, but not, it's not. It's a city, but a small one. And I lived in São Paulo for 15 years. That's my experience living in Metropolis. So, but I have already thought about this, how to say that, this, you weight the benefits of both kind of cities before, but I think I prefer to live in a metropolis because in a countryside you have lack of services so much, and this is important for me. I always think that if something happens to me in a countryside, I'm going to die because there's no hospital nearby. So I, I think about this, about living in a far, more far neighborhood here where I live. Imagine in a countryside place.
Perfect. I visited Aracaju in 2014, I think so. And I remember that it was not a small city, all right? It's smaller than São Paulo, I think so, but it's a city with a, I don't know if everything is there, so we can have a good life there with a public transportation, with shoppings and job opportunities, a lot of it. And it's the same with my city, my hometown, for example. It's not in the countryside, but it's a city smaller than Rio de Janeiro, right? So we have different rhythms of life, but it's not a life when you live in a house and we don't have anything near to your house, as you mentioned it. All right. So yeah, let me see, Igor. Have you ever had the experience of living in the countryside or in a metropolis?
Yes, of course, I have the opportunity to live some days in a countryside, and sincerely, I don't like it so much because I I brought up brought I forget it's brought up from the metropolis, and when I was in a silenced place or to have several animals and or something like that, for me it was a little bit strange, and mainly I don't have the technologies around me, and it makes me a little bit, I I don't know how to say entediante. I don't know. I forget this word
Boring,
in
maybe.
English. Yes, it's boring,
Boring.
and that's it. I don't remember more things to say here.
No problem, Igor. I can understand you. And you, welcome. Have you ever the experience of living in the countryside or in a metropolis?
Well, unfortunately, I have never lived in a countryside. I live in the capital of São Paulo, but my family is from Minas Gerais, you know. So every vacation, I like to go there and visit the small city that they live in. And I also have some parents there, some relatives. Um, but since I work as an IT guy, I think about it. I have this feeling that I need to move for a small city to, I don't know, to decrease the my life, because here in São Paulo we have a rusher life, so we are all the time worried with something. We are all the time stressed because here we have a, a bad traffic jam. We have a lot of pollution issues. So yeah, sometimes I think about it. I would like to try to have a new uh, basement, uh, or move it to a small city.
Yeah, I totally understand you. And last week I visited São Paulo, and every opportunity that I have to visit the city, I try to compare São Paulo and Rio, and it's totally different. The rhythm is totally different. When I took the metro, it's it's totally different here, and here we have metro too, but it's not a I don't know, it's metro or it's subway. I can use both, but
Yes, there are both.
and and I think it's people are running every time. They don't have time to talk to you in the streets, and the traffic is complicated, and all the things are totally different. And both cities are metropolis, all right? But here in Rio, I think the way that people live in here is a little bit different than the way that people live in São Paulo, for example. Yeah. So, and I'd like to ask you, Washington, do you prefer living in the countryside or a metropolis? I think you mentioned about it in the last question, but you can try to develop more about this, your preference. All right.
Okay, as I said before, I love to live in the countryside. I live in Cuiabá. Cuiabá is a capital of Mato Grosso, but it's so small than São Paulo, for example, or Rio, or Minas Gerais. And here there are many places to visit, for example, Chapada dos Guimarães, Pantanal, and it's a nice place to live. That's why I love to live here. And I don't see I living in São Paulo again, but I was born in Mogi das Cruzes. I love my seat of I was born, but today I feel that I'm Mato Grossense because I love here. And there are nowadays I love to live here because you can work remotely from home, and I no have a big problem with them. That's why I love to live in countryside.
And let me ask you, do you think that when you moved to Cuiabá, do you start to do more activities in contact with nature,
Yes,
or not?
yes, of course. For example, in my weekend, I go to Chapada dos Guimarães, nearby here from 40 minutes. It's a very nice place to visit and see many things about nature.
Perfect. And you, Welton, what do you prefer?
Well, with the possibility to work from anywhere, I would rather to live in a countryside, But if I weren't work as an IT guy, I would rather to work in a big city because there you have a lot of works. There is the money city, you have more possibilities, you have more opportunities. But as an IT guy, I have that possibility, and I can work from anywhere and have a better lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle, and enjoy more the nature, enjoy more a quiet life.
Yeah, you mentioned about your profession, and when I think about it, I think my profession is not. If I lived in my hometown, for example, I didn't have the same opportunities for my profession as I have in Rio, for example. And when we decided to move on to the another city, or we planned to live in a city, one thing that we consider is it's our jobs and the opportunities that we'll have in the new place that we choose to live. And I I don't have doubts that São Paulo it's the core of business, and all things and all professions uh, have uh, have opportunities to offer people that decided to move to São Paulo, you know.
Yeah,
And but we have the consequence. We have the other side with the things that are not so good. But okay, we have the same for a small city, for example.
yeah, I agree.
And you, Igor, what do you prefer?
Well, I prefer building than tree. I don't know, but I like to see the lights and everything about related to the the city. For example, when I was a kid, I played the Sonic, and all the time I remember that scenes that there was in a, I don't know how to say, it was like Las Vegas, and the scenario has a lot of lights and everything's about that. And I like to see these scenes. I like to see these scenarios and feels and all of them. Maybe I don't know. Uh, uh, Probably I will sing the song about the Alicia Keys and that she sing the Concrete Joe. Oh my God, I forget. I remember it's something I forget the name of the song, but that's it.
I don't know if the same song that I thought is new, Empire States, but it's a
Ye-
song.
yes, in her states.
Ah, okay. I remember this song.
Empire State of Mind.
Yeah, thank you, Clinton. That's the song. And what about you, Clinton? Do you prefer to live in the countryside or a metropolis?
Uh, Neither of them. I'm going to stay in the between because uh, both kind of places have its benefits for sure, but at the same time, for me, it's there are things that I like from both kinds of cities, and you can have some of them live in a city that is not as big as a metropolis, but um, near to countryside places. So there are cities uh, that feel this perhaps it's I don't know how to say that in English, but yeah, I'm going to stay in the between.
Most things in life, it's better when we choose to stay in the between, all right? And the city, it could be one of these type of things. So, in my case, guys, I nowadays I prefer to live in a metropolis. Of course, that here we have something that some some aspects that are not so good to live in a big city. For example, we are more. subject to crimes. Some places are not so safe to walk, especially for women. And we have problems related to public transportation. And we have this in the city, but it's not so effective as we see in São Paulo, for example. And the costs are so high here. So the costs of to how to say to buy a house or to alugar, I forgot this word in English. The cost of the supermarket and what else? Everything that you can imagine costs. The cost is higher than in a middle city or in a small city. All right. But at the same time, thank you, Clinton Rent. And at the same time, we have a lot of things to do here. We have a lot of place to visit. We have a huge contact with the nature, and we have a lot of opportunities to work. And all these things are good. So you need to balance it and decide what you prefer in that moment. And maybe um, 10 years after or 20 years after, when I become a mom, or when I maybe if I change my career, I can move to another city smaller than Rio. But it's not the case nowadays. So let me ask to you, Welton, what role do work or career opportunities play in your preference for living in the countryside or in a metropolis? I think you tell us a little bit about your profession and your decisions, but you can explore more in this question, please.
Yeah, like I said, it is one of the main reason to choose one of them. So I believe that it can influence a lot in my decision because we need to think about our future, you know. If I go to a countryside, I need to have a job there. Or like I have saying, my profession give me that, how can I say? I don't know, but for me it's better because I can work from anywhere. So I can think more about the place, about the schools for my daughter, about the lifestyle that I can have there, than thinking about my work because I have this opportunity. I can work from another country, and I believe that I I don't know, I can't worry about that, you know. So I need to just have a good experience, a good career, and the main is the network, you know, because it can open a lot of doors for me, a lot of opportunities in a lot of cities, and I can be based in a small city, you know. I know a lot of developers that have never lived in São Paulo, but they live in the countryside, and they don't have that kind of problem because the IT area give us that kind of flexibility, you know. So yeah, I believe that in my case, this kind of situation will be not a problem, you know.
Yeah, your profession have this particularity to that you can work from everywhere. And I know a girl that it's a it's the same has the same profession as you, and she is a nomad, I think so, and she
Yeah.
traveled around the world working
Hey,
in a
that's doing become a digital nomad.
digital nomad, exactly. And yeah, and she really liked this. She really likes this lifestyle. But I remember that she's planning to based in a city and just to spend short periods traveling because in a moment of her life it starts to 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 be hard to handle. It's not it's like when you feel so tired to repeat the same rhythm of life, especially when you travel um, every month or every week, I think so. But it's a possibility that this profession have these characteristics to that you can do it for everywhere.
Yeah, sure.
And you, Clinton.
I think the answer for this question changes during a lifetime. Sometimes you, depending on about your career, you can live in a more countryside place, but depending on your occupation, you can't. You have to go to a metropolis and grind there. So for me, for example, at the moment, I'm looking for entry-level positions, and most of these positions in IT are in São Paulo, mostly. So if I and in a hybrid or on-site uh, kind of work, I mean, I have to go there at least twice a week. So um, it's a possibility for me. I'm considering to move to São Paulo again and live there for a few years, but maybe not. It's not in my plans to live there my entire life. Actually, the least time I would have to live there would be optimal to me. So yeah, I think it changes along the depending on what kind of work occupation you have. So if you work in digital jobs, you can work from home. It's okay, but so if you work in restaurant, for example, it's impossible to work from home. So you have to stay there, and maybe you have to move to uh, bigger cities to work in famous restaurants. So yeah, that's some examples.
Yeah, I agree with you when you think that it depends of the period of life and depend on the goals that you have for your career. For example, sometimes you don't have people don't have ambitions and don't have big goals to achieve for career and then prefer to live in a small city than in a big one. It's a it's a thing that some people prefer to do. And maybe you can change the career. We can, I don't know, but my generation, it's recognized as a generation that don't have only one career, one type of job. And we can start to work with something, and at the middle of the age, we can change the career and maybe change the career depends to change the place that we live. So yeah, I think it depends of the period of life and the plans that we have to our careers. And you, Igor, what role do work or career opportunities play in your preference for living in the countryside or in a metropolis?
Sorry, I don't understand what you said to me, and I lost all the questions in my in my chat. Could you repeat, please?
What role do work or career opportunities play in your preference for living in the countryside or a metropolis?
Well, I prefer to work in a metropolis. For example, I live in Mogi das Cruzes, and every cities around here has a great and big companies that uh, that give me a chance to have a great job in my field, and it's a great opportunity to me for that the countryside doesn't give me if I live in this place. Probably I had too difficulty to find a company or at least to arrive in this company, you know.
Yeah, I understand you. Thank you for sharing. And you, Washner?
I agree with you guys, Clinton and Elton, because work with tech give you more opportunity to live in when wherever you want, because we can work from home. And in my case, I love this because I live in Cuiabá, it's a countryside, and it's very nice for me in my case. But of course, I know that many opportunities in Metropolis, of course, many course, many more networks or good jobs. In short, I know that, but and nowadays I'm 44 years old and I prefer countryside because that too.
Thank you for sharing, Washner. Let me see. Welton, can you choose a number from 5 to 12? Just tell a number and then we choose the question.
Number 7.
Okay. So let's move on to the question number 7. Welton, how do cultural and entertainment options influence your living preference?
Well, I believe that it influence a lot because sometimes we can, I don't know, we can be bored with the city, because sometimes you have a good house, a good environment to live there, but on weekends and on vacations, you don't have a lot of choices about activities to do. Like maybe go out with your family or even uh, a good schools or good cultural events. So I believe that it can be a problem. We need to think about it as well, because sometimes you have money, you have a good job, but you are not living in a good place.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Here in Rio, we have a lot of cultural events, and most of them are free. So, for example, we have a lot of fairs. We have in this month, for example, we have a lot of union parties. So we have a lot of things related to it, and all these events are free. Of course, you can go to the event and buy some food or some handmade things, but most of them are free. And we have a lot of activities to do outside. For example, we have a lot of parks, and people usually people go there with your families and with your our own foods, and then can spend all day in that parks. We have the beach, so all these things collaborate to consider Rio a place that has a lot of things to do. And of course, we have things that you need to pay to do, for example, in a museum or in a show. But other things we can do it for free, and it's good. It's good for the population. And Welcome can go on.
I just need to say that I love the idea to live near the beach. It looks be nice, you know?
Yeah, it's so nice. Uh, for example, in the weekends, we can go to the beach at the morning, and we have all the day to live it. We go for 1 2 hours to the beach, and then we have the lunch, and then we spend the day doing anything. I don't know. So it's so good. And at the end of the day, it's good to go to the beach and walk there and practice some activities. A lot of people do it, especially in my neighborhood when I live.
Nice.
And you, Clinton, how do cultural and entertainment options influence your living preference?
Um, that's a good question. I think at the moment I feel that the city where I live has lack of cultural and entertainment options. So if you stay here for about a week, you can visit all places that we can go to hang out and stay there to relax and enjoy entertainment, that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's not it's not have a lot of uh, options to go out here. So at the moment, I'm feeling bored about living here because of this. And when you compare to countryside, it's even worse. So yeah, I'm not a countryside boy. At this point, a metropolis is much better, in my opinion, because of course, you have the rush and traffic jams, blah blah blah. But in the end of the day, if you live near where you work, you can have a great quality of life. So this is key. You have to live near where you work, and you have plenty of options near to you. You can have a gym, you can have a hostel, supermarket, you can go shopping, you can go to the movies, and everything is near. Uh, you can have all these kind of services in your neighborhood. So I can't have all these things here in my city, for example. So yeah, I'm feeling bored these days because the lack of entertainment options bothers me.
Clinton, I follow the idea that you mentioned about choose a place to live near to work, to your work. And we can save time, the time to go to the work. Sometimes it's stressful. So if you choose a place near to work, or for example, in my case, my home is not near to my work, but I can go to my work without problems, without we don't have traffic problems. It's easy to arrive. So this is the point, because if you have to spend 2 hours in the traffic, 3 hours in the traffic, and I know that a lot of people here pass through it, it's exhausting, and you can't enjoy the other things that the city can provide to you. So you need to balance it and choose place near to work and near to the other things that you can do, you have to do in daily life. For example, go to the supermarkets and the schools and what else? Things that are so common in our daily lives. Let me see, Washner. Can you answer the question number 7 too, please?
Yes, in my opinion, influence a lot. I agree with Elton and Clinton because I think it's important you to be happy when you live. It's okay for us. I think so because in my case, I love to live in countryside because I love nature, rivers, fishing, and for me, it's very nice. But it's important, as Clinton said before, you need to emergency service like hospital, schools, supermarket. Of course, it's important too. But you nowadays you have an opportunity to live wherever you want because you can work from home. And of course, if you like more entertainment, and Metropolis is more good than countryside, of course. But in my case, I love countryside because I'm a calm guy. I love to stay home, and it's okay for me.
Yeah, I think it depends of the lifestyle of the people. Sometimes you just enjoy to stay at home and doing things at home and don't care about entertainment outside. And sometimes you really like to go outside, but you prefer to do things in nature, not in a place or things that you need to pay. For example, it's not a do people some people don't don't like to go to the cinema or museums or shoppings, and they prefer to do things that are to go to places that are so common in several cities, for example beach or parks and things like that, as you mentioned, the things that you really like to do. I think it depends of the preference that you have. And you, Igor, how do cultural and entertainment options influence your living preference?
Well, I was thinking about it, and I think it's the diversity of food because if you live in a countryside, probably you just eat your food that you made, or probably you will eat common food, sandwich like hot dog or pizzas or something like that. But when you live in a uh, downstairs or Metropolis, you can go at different restaurants. You can see different cultures about where you live. For example, another day, I saw a video from Instagram that 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 there is a restaurant in São Paulo. It's a Arabic restaurant, and they started dancing. And while they prepare the food and eating, and I think interesting, probably these things you you don't see in a countryside all around it, you know. I think it's a specific thing.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think it's not related to be a small or a big city, but maybe these different places is related to staying in a place that have how to say tourism, you know. So, for example, in Rio Grande do Sul, we have a city called Gramado. It's not a big city, but we have a lot of different entertainment to do and different restaurants to go. And all of this works because it's a city totally focused on tourism, you know. So if you're a small city don't have these purpose, or maybe a big city, I think big city is more common to choose different options of restaurants. But in other case, when we are talking about the small cities, it's common to see these different places when we are talking about cities totally focused on tourism, and they live it for it, you know. Guys, unfortunately, we don't have more time to continue the discussion. I really appreciate it, but we have a time to finish it. But I'd like to ask you the question number 11. If you can answer with few words, it's okay. Okay? So let me see. Welton, if you could create an ideal living environment, what elements would you take from both the countryside and the metropolis?
Well, like you have been saying, opportunities, job opportunities, places to visit, a good education. Yeah, that's it.
Perfect. And you, Washington?
I agree with Felton. In a metropolis, there are more opportunities to do many things like education, and countryside you can relax more than metropolis.
But if you could create an ideal place to live, put some elements of metropolis and countryside, what elements did you bring to this perfect place to live?
And in my case, in the metropolis, maybe, and how can I say in English? Assim, se tivesse menos carro, traffic less, I will live in the metropolis, but I hate the traffic cars.
Okay, thank you. And you, Clinton?
I was thinking about what to answer because this is a tough question. I don't know. I had to think about, but um, I would choose that most, for me, the biggest advantage for a metropolis is the plenty of opportunities you have in any kind of job, occupations. You can live in different, I feel like more you can choose a lot of different neighborhoods to live and according to your mm, way of living. This plenty of opportunities for me it's a big advantage. On the other hand, the challenge is to um, how to live in a place that usually had millions and millions of people in a peaceful way and providing all the people the ways to move to one side of the city to another, and you not you not having to take 2 hours, 3 hours of your day to move from a side to other of the city. So the biggest challenge for these cities is public transportation. And when you compare metropolis cities in Brazil to metropolis cities in Europe, for example, there the public transportation works efficiently, not here. So this is the biggest gap for São Paulo, for example, in my opinion, the public transportation that provides people need not to use their cars to go to work, and the traffic jams will be much less frequent.
Perfect. I totally agree with you. And you, Igor?
I think I'd bring all of the elements from nature, like trees and flowers and other things, in order to make the city more sustainable, and besides that, to change the views and appears about the buildings, to remove the buildings and something like that about the city, you know.
Yeah, I know. Thank you for sharing. Guys, I put on the chat the survey about this immersion. So, Clinton, as you are new here, we have a survey. After the immersion, you can access the link and you can rate this immersion from 1 to 10 and put some comments about this immersion and put some ideas. Then I will consider all the ideas that you mentioned in this link and bring them to the next immersion. Okay, guys? So thank you for your time. Thank you for staying with me in the morning. Have a good rest of week, and I hope to see you again in the next Wednesday. All right? So thank you.
Thank
Bye
you. Bye.
bye.
See you.